Well, he touches himself in his special place quite a bit, I'm sure.
Oh, you've watched me, so...
No,
but apparently it wasn't memorable.
Warning for underage listeners. This is an adult-oriented podcast. There will be frequent references to kink, sex, crude language, and various other grotesqueries. If you're under 18 and looking for answers and upfront advice about sex, please visit scarletteen.com. Also, for the dude bro listeners out there, this is nerdy shit. Go away.
Welcome to Gotham Press Podcast.
This is a verbal orgy about anything like the Grafenberg spot,
The difference between Star Trek and Star Wars.
the finer points of throwing a pair of floggers, and just whatever the hell we find to talk about.
That said, if you have a desire to learn these and many more kinktastic nerdgasms, stay tuned.
Hey, Gotham Press.
Hey,
It's kind of early.
it's too early.
What time did you wake up, Greedy?
I don't know. Callie, what time did you come into my room?
About 7 o'clock.
Yeah, strangely, I was up first in the house, which was kind of disturbing.
I think if I were left to my own devices, I would still be out cold, and it's 8:20.
But you're up and recording because you're a team player.
I thought we said that we were going to record at 9.
Well, French toast.
True.
Are you... Do you wish I had not woken you up for French toast and cheesecake fluff?
No, I do not. I do not wish that.
So it's okay that I woke you up at 7 a.m.?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
This is definitely forgivable sin.
Okay. Because, when I wake the man up, it basically has to be for a blowjob, so...
Where's my blowjob?
Would your mistress be okay with you getting that?
No.
So anyway, hey, we got a guest.
We do, and she gives blowjobs.
And French toast.
And French toast.
Blowjobs with French toast?
And I might... if sploshing is your thing, then by all means.
I've never really been into that.
Well, now's your chance. Here's some whipped cream fluff.
No, I'm good. Hi, Callie.
Hi.
You've been on before.
I have.
Yeah, you were in that big panel that we did.
Yes, the poly panel.
Yes, the poly panel.
That was a lot of fun. We need to hit up the doc again, see about getting back to her class again.
Well, she did say that she's going to be doing it again in August, I think.
Sometime in the fall, I can't remember. But yeah, for the next class time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll need to know ahead of time so I can schedule the time off.
Right. Anyway, so I need to make sure that you wake up, that I wake up, and Callie is apparently a morning person.
I am. It's a curse.
Yeah, we'll call it that. So, once again, I think we're going to be talking about poly.
Okay.
So, let's see. What do we have on the docket, Greedy? First one is issues in poly.
Mm-hmm.
How not to be a douche toward your partners. Have you had this problem, Greedy?
Actually, no. Well, not in poly relationships, no.
So you've just been a douche to every other relationship?
Well, you ass.
You set yourself up for these things, man.
I suppose. I haven't had well, I really shouldn't say that. Yes, I have had a problem in a poly relationship where one of my partners was a douche.
What was his name?
I will rip your dick off. You know that, right?
Wouldn't be the first time?
How many dicks do you have?
No, I'm saying you just touching a man's penis. For your own,
I don't
for
really,
your own sick pleasure.
I don't really care about touching a man's penis. It doesn't bother me, but
We can use vice grips and yank.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
No.
I like where your mind is, Callie.
Thank you.
Why does everybody?
I am usually far more twisted than people realize.
Why does every guest side with you in pain towards me?
Because you deserve it.
No, that's not how this works. Let's see. How to not be a douche towards your partners. Have you run into this, Callie?
Well, I think in any relationship there are moments of douchery.
Mm-hmm.
Any relationship?
Well, most relationships, at the very least.
Oh, we are really phoning this in this morning. But it's okay. We're doing this because we love you, listeners. We love you. How have I been a douche in my poly relationships? Well, let's do this. What would you consider being a douche in a poly relationship?
I didn't come up with this topic.
I'm aware, but I'm asking you a question. Because maybe you haven't been the douche, but again, people are douches, and sometimes people do things that you just don't like.
But that's not necessarily a crime.
No, let's redefine it a little bit then. How not to maliciously harm other people in your relationship.
Who harmed you, Greedy?
Well, there was a partner that only after breaking up did they finally confess that the only reason they were in the relationship was to get me away from the other person and have me for themselves. Which
That
I
would be a
feel
douche
is
move.
a douche move.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you, I think it's important to be true to yourself and be honest with yourself about what you're doing. And if you're not a poly person, don't try to be one because you want someone else. It's not going to work in the long run, and you're just going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And what I guess not currently going through now. I guess was going through. Not that she was trying to be a poly person, but she agreed to be in a relationship with me, even though I'm poly. And
She is not.
she is not. And oh yeah, listeners, I lost one of my girlfriends. She decided to break things off because this life is just not for her.
It sounded sort of like you misplaced her there for a minute.
Like I misplaced her?
You said you lost her. So.
Oh. No, not lost. It was what happened was on the 4th of July, I was with her and her family, and I made a few errant decisions during the day. Plus the previous weekend, I made an errant decision, and all that kind of culminated in, you know what? I think she had to consider whether or not this was a good relationship for her. And with everything factored in, she decided this be best we just go back to being friends. Fuck you and your counter, Greedy. Took me a second to realize what you were doing.
Yeah, well, I'm still doing it.
I'm lost.
Please explain, Greedy.
Oh.
So,
The counter.
I will cut out every one if you will think that you are a crazy man. Anyway, back to topic.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that it didn't end with ugliness. And
Agreed.
going in, you knew she wasn't poly, but she was willing to give it a try.
Yes.
And you really, truly do not know how you're going to feel about something until you do it.
Right.
And it's like some of the fantasy things that sound so hot, and then you do it, and you're like, not so much.
Right, yeah.
And so you really don't know how you're going to feel when your partner is out on a date with someone else.
Or even trying to talk about a date that they had with someone, and they're just like, I don't want to hear about this.
Right, and it's natural for us to talk about things that happen with our friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went to the water park, or we went to see this movie, and so it's natural in my world to talk about things that happen with other partners or dates.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to shut that part of your life off from one person and not talk about it, because it's just not who we are.
Yeah.
So she gave it a shot. She realized it wasn't for her, and not knowing all the specifics of how it
went down.
How it I don't want to say it didn't fail. The relationship didn't fail. The relationship just didn't work.
Reached its conclusion.
It reached its conclusion. I would say that it's a good thing sooner rather than later.
I'll agree.
Well, the fact that the two of you are still friends, I mean, that speaks volumes to both of you. Breakups do not have to be oh my god, I fucking hate you. They don't have to end up in the police needing to be called for domestic violence.
I would never want that to happen.
I know. That speaks to who you are as a person. But there
Not
are
a douche.
Well, yeah, that too.
Okay, so from what you went through with this relationship and what you know about yourself, would you enter into another relationship with someone who was not poly?
At this point, I'm not going to actively seek out anyone that's not poly. I'm not going to cut that off altogether because, again, as we said, you don't know what you're into unless you've tried it. But I'm not going to invest as deeply if I do.
Then I would say don't do it at all, because then you're shortchanging someone else. You're keeping them at arm's length. And I don't think that's fair to either one of you. Now, not every date has to be exclusive. So, if you're dating someone who's dating other people, I mean, that's what, we did growing up until, hey, you want to go steady with me kind of a thing.
True.
But when feelings start getting involved, then that changes things.
Very true.
I think what's different about poly versus dating a bunch of people is the communication and honesty amongst all of the people involved in your life.
The saying of, yes, I am dating this person too, as opposed to, oh no, it's just you that I'm looking into right now.
Sure.
You seem to have a different thought.
No, I've never had anyone ask me that when I was younger or make that statement, and I've never asked.
I've had previous women that I would be dating before I even got into the whole lifestyle. Like, so is it just me that you're going out with right now? Is it just me that you're checking out on dates? I've actually been asked these questions, so.
And you lied through your teeth.
Not every time. Oh. Hey, I'm not going to lie. I've learned to be better than that.
Well, people who are not exposed to the concepts of poly and don't really understand it, that's typically what happens. Is you date a few people and you don't talk about them to each other, and unless they're specifically asking those questions, it doesn't really come up.
Right.
That's one thing I've really enjoyed about this, getting to ask my mistress about her relationship with her husband, and knowing that they actively talk about my relationship with her and his relationship with his submissive. And it's refreshing, It's nice to know that I'm not the dirty little secret, that I have his approval. And I think Polly gets a bad rap for all those assholes out there that do it wrong. They say, oh yeah, I'm polyamorous.
And really they're not.
Does your girlfriend know about your other girlfriend? No, we have a don't ask, don't tell. Okay.
I'm not a fan of that.
Are me neither. It doesn't work for me. I don't see how it works for other people either. I mean, it always, by all accounts that I've seen, it always leaves people feeling like, there's something there that he's not saying, something there that she's not saying, that if either of them knew what it was, it would end the relationship. That creates a tension.
Well, there's also degrees of don't ask, don't tell.
Okay.
There's, I know you have a girlfriend, and that's the extent that I want to know, to the other end of the spectrum, which is tell me what you did to her in bed, kind of a thing. And those are way different ends of the spectrum.
Well, that's absolutely not don't ask, don't tell, is it? I mean, if somebody, like, let's say that you and I are a couple, and you go off and have a thing with Awesome, and then I ask you all the dirty details. How big is his cock? Did he do this thing? What was your favorite thing? Well, that's not exactly don't ask, don't tell.
Well, that's what I mean, is that it's a spectrum of knowledge with, on one end is don't ask, don't tell, but there's degrees of that.
Okay.
All the way to the other end of maybe TMI for some people. So don't ask, don't tell could be, I don't want to know anything about anyone else you're seeing.
I don't even want to know that you have found somebody else.
Down to, it's okay that you're seeing other people, just don't tell me about it. So you have to clarify terms with somebody. Just because what I think don't ask, don't tell means doesn't mean that it's what you think it means.
Okay. Yeah, I will concede that point.
So, what was this other part to this topic you had? Hindsight and judging from it in an armchair?
Okay, so a lot of the times in poly relationships, and I find this to be true with most of them, you always see what happened and then feel compelled to give your information, your input as to, oh, well, what you should have done differently. You should have done this. You should have done that. And I want to encourage people not to do that so much, because it can be taken as a lot of time. It can be taken as that you know exactly what they should have done, but in retrospect they weren't there. They weren't there at the moment, in the heat of the moment. They weren't there for the event itself.
Sometimes they weren't even there for the build-up. They were just there to see the aftermath. And like, oh, well, this, and that should have been done beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean when someone's asking for advice, or
No.
just what do you mean?
I mean, I don't even know what I mean now.
As far as hindsight, like, hey, you and I are in a relationship, and I do something, we won't say bad, but just something distasteful that you didn't like.
It was something bad.
Anyway. Dick. As you say, pralines and dick. Anyway. I do something bad and then go to Greedy talking to him about it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you should have done this and this and this instead.
It's not necessarily a matter of I wanted to get someone else's advice. A lot of times it's I just want to get this off of my chest. I want to say it out loud to somebody, and if you start interjecting with, well, but this is where you fucked up. Oh, you totally did that wrong. This is how you should have handled things. If you come at it from that perspective, it can actually come off as cocky and, for lack of a better word, know-it-all,
Right. And I'm going to throw out a stereotype.
Please.
That men tend to want to fix problems.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say something that appears to be a problem to a guy, he's going to give you advice to fix it.
Yeah.
Most, not all of them, of course, there's the exception. I try to make it a habit. I'm not always successful, but I try to make it a habit to say, are you just venting or are you asking me for advice? And I do this with my employees at work. And sometimes they'll say, I just want to vent. And sometimes at the end of whatever they're venting about, a client being rude or something, I would say, do you want some tips on how to handle it differently next time? I don't necessarily think they did something wrong, but maybe I have a different perspective.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to say, are you venting or are you looking for some advice?
It's a good way to put it.
And I've had that in my own relationships where someone is trying to fix something and I'll say, I need you just to listen to me. I'm just upset and I just want to get it off my chest and I just need you to listen.
That's kind of why I was putting all those writings on FetLife, because I didn't really necessarily want to talk to. Like, I had people that said, hey, what's wrong? Do you want to talk about it? I don't want to talk, because talking then leaves it open to them jumping in and saying something in the middle and me losing my thought.
Right.
But if I'm just writing it out, then I can get all my thoughts out the way I want to.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for the cathartic act of dumping it all off your chest.
Yeah.
I would like to say something on a personal note, Awesome. A few days ago, well, several days ago, I saw a writing of yours, and it was rather vague, and it didn't tell a whole lot, but it left me guessing. And I did come to you and ask if you wanted to talk. Apparently, I had missed the next writing where you had explained about your relationship ending. And I hope you didn't take that as, I'm trying to pity you for,
No, I did not take it that way.
Okay, because I don't pity the fool.
I was waiting. I knew that was coming.
I love me. I do.
Someone has.
Thank you. Yes. She beat me to it. All right. Next one then. So your relationship ended. It's not a failure.
No, it's not.
So this is something that I said, Austin, when you said your relationship failed. And I told you that all relationships end, whether it's by death or by the end of the relationship in other means. So acknowledging before you even get into a relationship with someone that it's going to end in some fashion takes a little of the stress away from it. And just because a relationship ends does not mean it's a failure. You're not a failure as a person. You're not, the failure is the wrong word. It just ends. And if you made mistakes and then you go on to repeat those mistakes over and over, that's something that you need to work on. But the end of a relationship isn't a failure.
Which I finally ended up getting. That was part of the... When I was doing all those writings, I was working through... And I understand it's not a failure, but I was working through how I failed that relationship. And then eventually got to the point of, I didn't fail. This was just how it ended.
Right.
Took me a while to get there, but I got there.
That's, sometimes the journey's more difficult than other times.
Yeah, it was.
It's all about how you deal with that, though. I mean, we've all had relationships end at one point or another. Well, most of Listenerland has as well. I think...
Listeners, send your best relationship enders to Greedy.
The care of Gotham Press Podcast at gmail.com.
Correct.
I will be shocked if we actually get something back about that.
Why would you even put that out there like that, man?
Why not?
Because now you're just like, oh, well, I guess they don't want anything really if they're not going to get anything. I'm just going to cut everything that you say out of the podcast.
I think that'll make for a better podcast.
I didn't say it, listeners.
Maybe I should just sit here and sternly stare you down. See how that helps.
Now you're just brooding. You see those smoky eyes he has? Like, oh.
I know. And he could be eating cheesecake fluff.
I could. It's staring me in the fucking face.
Back to topic.
What was the topic?
I forgot already. Ending
Breakups.
Failures.
Yes.
Breakups.
How it's not a failure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, relationships, they will end eventually. It'll be either death or taxes. Breakup.
Death or taxes.
Wow.
Taxes will end your relationship, people.
It might. You never know. I mean, it
yeah.
could be something like that. Financial.
Or, you get arrested for tax fraud.
Is that why you were in jail?
Shh. You weren't supposed to tell them that.
You're too pretty for prison.
I'm aware. Plus,
The rest of the inmates made him aware.
No. Plus, I was blessed or cursed with a jiggly ass. In which case, I already know that if I went to prison, one of two things is happening. Actually, one thing is happening.
Somebody's going to make you their bitch.
No, I'm never leaving prison because if somebody comes to me and they don't take no, I'm going to have to kill them. In which case, I'm in there for life. Or they kill me, in which case, I'm never getting out of prison.
Well, you were in there for life either way.
Exactly, see?
Mm.
Are you two done giggling at this?
No.
So now I'm picturing you laying on your bed, dick in hand, and you walking in with your jiggly ass.
Oh, God, no.
Wow.
No.
You missed that part.
You see what happens when you don't come to be on the podcast, Valerian?
Yeah, listener land, Valerian just walked into the room and plopped down on the couch, and she's listening from here live.
From here live.
I'm here live studio.
Well, you missed the whole part where the other night Greedy had cock in hand and was pleasuring himself, and Awesome walked in and just stood there and stared at him, and apparently neither remembers this nor noticed what he was doing.
You guys know you're not allowed to do sexual activities when I'm not there to watch.
Holy shit. No, my mistress needs to be there to watch if that's going to happen. Which
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not. No. Well, I know it's not. I'm questioning whether or not you know it's not now.
I'm very aware that it's not. I don't want it to happen.
And yet, there you stood.
And we have boy butter.
Maybe we need to reach out to Boy Butter about sponsoring.
There you go.
Did you keep going while he was standing there watching you?
No.
I asked him if it got harder.
No, it actually got rather flaccid very quickly. So, there's your answer.
And this is what happens. This is how we get off on tangents.
Awesome. I must tell you, I am not in the least sexually attracted to you.
I thank you for that.
Wow.
It's a good thing you're
Can't
not.
even fist you.
No, you cannot fist me.
It's a good thing you're not sexually attractive, because if you can't even make a fist bump match, you're never gonna.
Oh, this is great. This is a great way to wake up.
I
Yeah,
think I
lots
need to
of
get a
editing
shower.
on this one.
Not much editing at all.
What stuff?
But, stuff.
Real quick, before that,
What?
do we have any geek news? Any at all?
Oh yeah, actually, this last week, a while back, Pubg announced that they were going to be pursuing legal claim against Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, that case has been completely dropped. Pubg has decided to no longer pursue that avenue, even though in the Korean court where that case was going to be heard, they actually had a fighting chance of winning.
Oh.
It's something to do with the greater good, with community property as a whole. I forget the whole legality of it, but analysts said that they actually had a decent chance of winning. But yeah, they dropped it. So I don't know what all the details are, why they would have done it, but I'm no attorney. I'm sure that I just don't care enough to look into it.
As long as the game is still available to you, you're happy.
Yes, the game is still available. Both games are still available, and I still prefer one over the other.
As far as me with news such as that, I'm going to go see Ant-Man and Wasp either today or tomorrow.
I've heard
Finally.
that it's the funniest movie out of that franchise yet.
Okay.
I saw it with my teen a week ago. And it was funny, but it tried a little too hard to be funny. It was a little too obvious at times.
Okay.
It was still alright.
Have fun.
And a naked man just walked through the room.
Mm-hmm. And Valerian is walking out of the room now. Enjoy your naked man.
I will.
I wonder if the mic will pick that up.
We'll find
You
out.
walk it down the hallway.
No, we are not going to go record Valerian having sex. That's creepy on several levels.
But we could.
You say creepy, I say otherwise.
And now I have to keep my recording equipment under lock and key.
Is it going to be in there?
No, it is not.
Damn.
Anyway.
Question is, do you have a camera?
Anyway, Greedy.
We have the technology.
Spy cam.
How did I end up around all you perverts?
Like attracts like.
Geese of a feather.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather.
Birds
of a feather.
Yeah, birds of a feather flock together. Geese are birds. You can count that. Not really. Anyway, butt stuff.
What was our topic?
Geese are evil. Butt stuff.
So, where did the butt stuff come from?
That actually that popped up last night.
Popped up.
I wasn't gonna do
it. At a discussion group that I was at, one of the topics that came up was butt stuff, and
the local bottoms club.
Mm-hmm. Irony. Bottoms club talking about butt stuff. Love it. Popping into butt stuff.
You know, you're going to have to take all of that out because we don't say what specific people talked about.
No, we don't say what specific people talk about.
Well, if she always brings it up.
Shit.
There you go.
You see what you did?
I do.
See what you did?
I do.
You had one job. One.
Okay, so why did we even mention her?
Because you put it on the notes.
Okay, so at Bottoms Club, butt stuff came up. Not butt comma stuff, but butt stuff. And
what about butt stuff came up?
The specific question was how to make it not hurt so much. So we asked a lot of questions, and we found that the person was using a position that was not conducive to butt stuff. They were laying flat on their stomach. We suggested pulling up the knees, laying on your side with the knees up, and we got into the anatomy of butt stuff and why that was better than flat.
Mm-hmm. There are many rap songs that literally tell you face down, ass up.
Right. And we likened that to the squatty potty position. You can't really go if your legs are straight out and you're flat. You've got to pull the knees up.
Mm-hmm. Our anatomy is we're built to squat and not to stand or lay down and
not just lay there like a lump.
Mm-hmm. So if something has trouble coming out, why in the hell would you think something would be easily put in?
Lube?
Lube helps too.
Right, and we discussed lube, and a shout out to Boy Butter, which is not made from
boy butter,
shaking boys or churning boys.
And the carnage. Boycott Boy Butter.
Wow.
Because gay men know their lube.
They do. And I need to point something out. Boy Butter is a petroleum product, so do not use it with latex condoms. If you're going to use condoms at all with it, make sure they're not latex, nitrile, or what's the other stuff that they're made of nowadays?
Something that's not latex.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Fun times.
Certainly is. Do not use water-based lube for anal, because it dries out and gets tacky and then gets sticky, and then you find yourself stuck inside them, and that's never good for anybody.
Callie, you thought?
Have you had experience with this?
No, but now I'm picturing two dogs, because dogs get stuck together.
Yep.
And I'm the one's going, you used water-based lube, didn't you?
Oh god.
Wow. That
I went to an awesome class.
Not a class put on by me.
Not what?
Not a class put on by me.
No, it was a class put on by Miss Jamila, and it was basically all things anal, and she had awesome supply lists and lots of advice, and go slow, he needs to hold still, you need to push back, if you're going for fast, you're going for pain, unless you're a more experienced butt slut who loves that sort of thing. And there were a number of people in the audience that were, and said, I don't like it slow, get in there and do your thing. And so you need to identify where you fall on the spectrum of that.
Greedy, are you an experienced butt slut?
I personally start out slow, and once things are acclimated, stretched as they should be, and I know I'm in the right position, then by all means have at it. But
I was waiting for it.
But otherwise, I'm not about speed in. I want to be sure that my partner is, comfortable
And enjoying your enjoyment.
enjoying it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm just not into butt stuff. I've tried it a couple times in my life and it just never did anything for me.
Maybe you just haven't found the right butt yet.
I was speaking of things going into my butt, sir.
Oh, okay.
I was just
Maybe you just haven't found the right dick yet.
No. They're not going in.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Callie, any thoughts from you on butt stuff?
I got nothing.
Greedy, you're horrible.
I know.
You enjoy it, and that's scary.
And you don't.
Like a normal person.
Why don't you know?
Whoa, judgmental much?
Yes, very.
Right?
What does normal mean?
Normal is a setting on the fucking dryer. That's it.
Now I'm getting ganged up on again, listeners.
Oh,
You deserve it.
Anyway. Okay. I think we've actually reached the end.
I think so. I think we're at a good stopping point,
I think when you edit out all the crap, you're gonna have anything left.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 4 minutes of random bullshit that's not gonna be coherent. It's not gonna flow.
And we will let the listeners decide whether or not they like that.
Right?
Yeah. So then, before we go, any last thoughts? Callie?
Well, I had a flit. And I was thinking about someone who came to me for advice recently, and we were talking about bad feelings in communication, and one of the things that I said was feelings aren't right or wrong, they're just there. It's what you're doing with them. And if your partner is doing something, maybe they're on a date and you're feeling alone and you're getting some ugly feelings, those are okay. And it's okay to talk about those things. And it's okay for your partner to be receptive and say, what do you need me to do? Is there anything I can do to help you through this? And not take it as a problem. Everybody has feelings. And you can get those twinges of the ugly feelings, and that's okay. You don't have to do anything about it right this minute. You don't have to make a decision right this minute. There's very few times in life that you have to make a decision right this minute. And explore those ugly feelings and think about what is the likelihood of anything happening. If you're feeling that you're feeling jealousy, which is a fear of loss, you're afraid someone's going to leave you, what are the odds of that really happening? What's the likelihood of that happening? And frankly, if that does happen, there's nothing you can do about it.
Because they were already out anyway.
They were already out. So it's okay to have those feelings. And I have found in my life, the more I have explored those feelings and said to myself, he's not leaving me, or, it's okay, the less I have those feelings. I rarely have those feelings now.
You're in what they call a stable relationship.
No, don't bring up horses.
Stable.
Gotcha. Greedy, final thoughts?
I'm actually pretty good. I mean, I think this was fairly productive.
Fairly productive works. And this is awesome. Final thoughts from me are relationships end, and it's okay. Took me about a week to learn that after almost 36 years, but it happens and it's okay. Just have to move forward as best you can. And with that, listeners, go out there, have fun, do butt stuff, don't break your toys, and we'll see you next time.
19.